Taurus Horoscope 2024. Let's talk about the blessed, expansive changes that are coming in for you within the year ahead. Hi, my name is Lulu Lunar and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology and today all things Taurus 2024 forecast and what is ahead within the year 2024 for you bulls. Furthermore, we will discuss how you can co-create with the cosmos in order to reap the most expansion, the most blessings, the most success the year ahead is offering. Because, may I say a spoiler alert, Taurus, there are definitely some lucrative energies to work with as you navigate the year ahead. This is part of my brand new series called the 12 Days of Cosmos, where I'm taking every single sign through their 2024 celestial themes and transits aligning for them. I want to let you know within this series, you will most definitely want to listen to your ascendant and your sun sign. That is because a lot of the techniques that I utilize in delivering your forecasts are derived from either houses based on your ascendant or solar houses coming from your sun sign. You are also welcome, my bulls, to listen for your other placements like your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, your Moon, but definitely listen to your ascendant and your sun sign. I'm super excited to give you your yearly horoscope, but before I do, I just want to make it very clear that it is never my intention to fearmonger you or scare you with this information. I am passionate and you'll find this passion weaved into every content I present, every offering I put out there. My passion is always about empowering other individuals and leveraging astrology as a tool for growth, for leveling up, for success. Your year ahead forecast has lots of opportunities for all of that, Taurus, but it also has its fair share of challenges. I strongly believe to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So I will be direct and straight up with you about some of the potential challenges that may come up as you navigate the year ahead. Not to make you feel like you're a victim to the cruel and mean cosmos above you, but so you can prepare yourself accordingly and really lean into those challenges as a vehicle for growth. I'm super excited to get into your forecast, so without further ado, let's get into it. Taurus 24 forecast is a brand new world. So Taurus, in telling the story of your 2024, I want first to highlight a defining transit of the year ahead, which was challenging for me to select because there are a few that are quite pivotal for the bulls, all of which we will discuss a little bit later. But first I want to get you familiar with the Uranus and Taurus. Now this has been an ongoing transit that you all have been experiencing and that you all have been the main characters of since 2018. So it is not unique to 2024. However, that story that started in 2018 is being accelerated this year as Jupiter and Uranus will align in April 2024 within your sign Taurus. So I'll get you familiar with Uranus and Taurus first, and then we'll talk about how Jupiter is expanding and accelerating that ongoing story. Since 2018, Uranus, the planet of change, novelty, eccentricity, has been transiting your section of the sky, Taurus. That has been fascinating to witness because in many ways, the energies of Uranus and Taurus are different from one another. You, Taurus, are a fixed earth sign, a sign that is known for being consistent, reliable, loyal. You know what you like, and you like what you know. And that's that. But Uranus is averse to doing the same thing over and over. Uranus is an energy that is averse to comfort. You may have found that you have had a lot of awakenings since 2018. Some of these awakenings could have been spiritual awakenings. Oftentimes, when Uranus is transiting our sign, there's this electric bolt forcing us to view our lives and ourselves through an entirely different perspective. Uranus is the genius archetype, so some of you could have awakened into higher dimensions of knowledge. That story will continue to build with Uranus aligning with Jupiter. Some of you have been navigating major changes since 2018. You have observed that you have outgrown certain dimensions of your life. Others have made major changes like new cities, new relationships, maybe out of old relationship, friendship breakups. Some of you have gone through certain physical changes, like maybe you lost a lot of weight, you switched up your aesthetics. Some of you have expanded your horizons. You travel to new places, you learn new things. And I want to let you know, Taurus, that once we stretch into new horizons, we cannot go back to our original shape. Once you have a spiritual awakening, or you travel, or you have some sort of light bulb moment over your life and what it is that you deeply value about it, you cannot go back to who it is that you were prior to that moment. Uranus is the planet of electricity, and I always think of Uranus energy as being that lightning bolt sensation. And what is important to highlight about a lightning bolt is that it can be electricity or it could be lightning in a bottle. You could have grabbed hold of something, whether this year or back in 2018. As this transit continues, you could have grabbed hold to something that is electric novel and gives you a new perspective, gives you clearance to enact a higher level of genius within your universe. Lightning bolts can be that, but they also can create forest fires. If that lightning bolt strikes the wrong place, it can create destruction. And I say that not to scare you, Taurus, but simply to eliminate that Uranus energy is not a fundamental net positive or net negative. It is neutral. It simply awakens. It just disrupts. It enlivens. So with Uranus in your sign, you could have found that you've been navigating certain changes, whether external, like a new city, a new relationship, or internal, like a lot of you are recognizing that there are components within you that hold untapped potential. For some of you, with this Uranus energy, there's this restlessness stirring within you, this deep inner knowing that you are meant for something more, and that the only way to get there is to be open to change. When you know something, when you have an awakening, you cannot go back to how things were prior to that. And that's where we get into the destructive part of Uranus, where the lightning bolts can create a fire. That is because sometimes when we awaken to the knowledge of I'm living a life that I do not resonate with any longer, that belongs to a prior version of myself, sometimes that that light bulb moment, that lightning strike of awareness is the first step to us burning down a section of our life or changing something major within our universe. That is knowing that all this belongs to a prior version of me. And that's where Uranus energy can be so challenging sometimes, because a lot of times when we are outgrowing, it's good, it's fine, it worked for us, but there's just this knowing that you are being guided to the next chapter of your universe. And that restlessness is trying to tell you something. It is trying to tell you that there are certain facets of your life that you have outgrown, my love. You are root-bound. How appropriate to give a plant analogy when you're talking to Tauruses. But if you don't have any plants being root-bound, that is when the plant has nowhere else to grow. Its roots are butted up against the pot. Again, sometimes it's like it's a nice pot. It facilitated my growth up to this point. This is a nice city, this is a nice relationship, this is a nice friendship. I mean, some of you might be feeling urged to disrupt things that aren't so nice. But a lot of times, with your energy, it's like, why, universe, this is a nice spot, I'm comfy here. It facilitated my growth up to this point. But when you are in a life that does not allow us to grow, we deny ourselves the opportunity to find out all that could have been, the heights that we could have grown to, all of the leaves that we could have created. The process where you have a plant that is root-bound, where its roots are right up into the pot, and it can no longer grow, the process of repotting can be quite traumatic for the plant. A lot of times you have to be super gentle, but sometimes you do accidentally mess with the root, and it is scary, right? Like moving into a new pot, moving to a new city, having this spiritual awakening, learning new modalities, craving this career change, whatever it is, it's uncomfortable. Keep in mind, Tauruses, that your sign is typically the sign of creatures of habit. They are like, this pot works, I don't care if I don't grow any longer. I'm comfy here, this is good. But there is this knowing, and a lot of it is because you have Uranus and Jupiter in your sign, which is pulling you towards growth, reminding you that there are facets of yourself, facets of your potential that you have not tapped into. That is why that restlessness is building up, because comfort is nice, and I hope all my Tauruses who are following right now, I hope you all have a fuzzy blanket, and I hope you're cozy, and you have some good snacks, like that is fundamental to your energy. Of course, I'm not saying that the rest of your life is going to be uncomfortable. You will be able to grow into the new pot that you're in. At times, it can feel scary when you do disrupt something within your world, where all of a sudden you're in a new industry. It's like your old job you could do in your sleep. And now it's like these are some big shoes to fill. This is a bigger pot to grow into. Whatever you're feeling that way, whether it's a relationship, a job, a creative project, when we repot, when we leave the familiar container and allow ourselves the potential for growth within a bigger container, it is scary at first. There's more room. We were nice and snuggy in our old pot, and now there's like, dang, I have bigger shoes to fill. But in that challenge of having to grow into a new chapter of your journey, you allow yourself the gift of figuring out all that you have the potential to be. Such a nightmare would be being at the end of your life and having to come face to face with the person that you could have been had you gotten out of your comfort zone, had you conquered your fear of visibility, had you switched up your life, had you let go of trying to be what other people wanted you to be. How heartbreaking that would be to come face to face with the person that you could have been had you conquered those new horizons, had you gone through that move that terrifies you, had you done that more risky creative project that has been bubbling within you. A lot of times when we have your house transits, there is this awareness about, I like my life, or at least I like facets of my life, but gosh, there's something that's pulling me towards something else that is there waiting. And it's important to highlight Uranus throughout the entirety of 2024 will be transiting the first house. This is the house of self. So you'll notice when I'm talking about change, it's not limited to one arena of life. Some of these changes could be external, involving career, job, relationships, what have you. But the biggest threat is that you are changing. That's why your life is changing. Sometimes when we have Uranus in our sign, there's this awareness like, I'm living in this pot that belongs to a prior version of me. I'm living in this life that belongs to a prior version of me. This city was great. It facilitated my growth up to this point. But this is a prior version of me. And there's this knowledge that it's time to stretch into who it is that you are becoming. With the energy of Uranus, Some of you have been feeling yourself change, whether it's a spiritual awakening or you've had certain experiences that have expanded you and you cannot return to your original shape. For some of you, you have been trying to play the role of being the person that you were when you first got into this relationship, being the person you were when you first started this career path, being the person you were when you first started this creative endeavor or this social media account, and it's feeling more and more not true to yourself. The energy of Uranus fundamentally is about individuality. It's about building a life that allows us the space to be authentically ourselves wherever it may take us. I need to be very frank here. Uranus is the archetype of genius, so a lot of Tauruses are tapping into the genius this year. But you're going to find your genius through weirdness. Uranus does not fit in there. And so for some of you, if you've been trying to continue to play in that mold of what other people expect you to be, that is going to be less and less sustainable as the year goes on. Not everybody will get it. Not everybody will be able to meet you and match you at your growth and the new aspects of yourself that you're tapping into. It is important to highlight that this is the house of self, and you could be enacting these changes very physically. Some Tauruses could be experimenting with new hair colors, with new style, with new aesthetics. You could be experimenting with new perspectives wherever this change is concentrated. It is important to know not everybody will get it. Not everybody will like your pink hair. Not everybody will like your weird creative project or the version of you when you're being totally authentic, and that is okay. Now, Taurus, you've likely felt these Uranian currents within your universe because this transit has been underway since 2018. But the Tauruses who will most certainly feel this awakening, this desire for disruption, this desire for rebellion against prior versions of yourself, or playing a certain role, or being complacent, or what have you. The Tauruses who will feel this story punctuated the most within the year 2024 are those who have Taurus placements between 19 degrees to 27 degrees. You will have a Uranus transit this year, and you can most certainly expect to tap into new components of your brilliance, new components of your genius. You can expect to really crave change. There could be this awareness that you have outgrown certain components of your life, which could echo out externally and could echo out internally. What I want to tell you, Taurus, and what knowledge I want you to rest within as you navigate this year, is to affirm that when I change, I grow. Everything that you want is on the other side of change. I'm not saying you have to burn down your entire life, but what I'm saying is that if there is something that excites you, if there is something that you want to try, this can be a powerful year to be able to open to experimentation. Again, you might not like the pink hair, you might not like living nomadically, you might not like playing the trombone, like you might not like it, but you learn. Every time you try something new, you learn. And when you learn, you stretch into new components of yourself. You tap into untapped potential that exists within you. Taurus, within the first portion of the year, Jupiter will also be in your sign. That's why I chose this transit as your defining transit, because Jupiter expands what it touches. With it is expanding Uranus. This ongoing story that has been building within you around craving disruption and change and being able to create a life that does feel truly authentic to you, that story accelerates quite a bit when Jupiter and Uranus align in your sign Taurus in April 2024. Like I said, Uranus is not necessarily positive nor negative. It's a lightning bolt, and the lightning bolt does not strike twice. What I want to say, Taurus, is that with Jupiter and Uranus, April could be quite a lucky break for you. For some of you, it could feel like a very unlucky break. Again, Uranus shows up and changes our universe in very random, bizarre ways, because sometimes the universe answers our prayers in ways that we would not prefer. Let me give you an example here. Say you've been wanting to move, then something weird happens, like electric wiring in your house goes wrong and you have to move out within 3 days. Then you're like, okay, universe, thank you for the nudge towards my new life. But are you kidding? Did you have to make it this disruptive? Again, Jupiter is the planet of luck. So even if that luck comes through in weird happenings, know that that is the universe pushing you on for growth. The push for change could come through external shifts during this time, or could come through awakenings within your genius, awakenings within you. You can find yourself tapping into new components of your aesthetics. You have new perspectives. You have new desires within you. Some of you Tauruses could even have very novel creative ideas coming through. Some of you could have a new inventive idea. Again, this is the house of self, so it's difficult to identify what exact arena is benefiting from this acceleration of genius. But what I want to say is, as you go into this transit, continue to be open to change. Continue to sharpen into alignment what you want to grow within in terms of what you want. And trust that the universe may deliver it to you in a little bit of an unexpected way. With Jupiter, Uranus aligning in your sign, continue to see yourself as a very lucky person. And I want to let you know, Taurus, that you do have luck on your side, particularly if you have Taurus placements between 5 degrees to 29 degrees. Taurus will have a Jupiter transit this year, and it's important to note that fortune favors the bold. And with Jupiter transiting here, you do have to put yourself out there, and you have to put yourself out there authentically. With Uranus also there as well, you can continue to play the role of last season's version of yourself, but just know that blessings are awaiting for you. If you continue to grow into what feels authentic for you and to express yourself and allow yourself to be visible. When we talk about Jupiter energy, it's important to highlight that Jupiter is the planet of adventure. And so it's less so about figuring out exactly who it is that you are, or having a light bulb moment around, ooh, that's who I'm going to be. That's where my life is going to go. It's less about that. It's more important being open to find out, open to try new things, and tap into new parts of your brilliance and new parts of your genius that allow you to figure out who it is that you are and what it is that you want out of this experience. It is a time to say yes. Jupiter gives us opportunities, but it is up to us to take those opportunities and to put ourselves in the pathway for fortune to find us. Be visible, put things out there, allow yourself to be seen. Do what allows you to feel confident within your appearance, within your physical appearance. With Uranus here, some of you could be trying on a new aesthetic. You could be tapping into a new style. You could be trying pink hair. You could be growing a beard. You could be trying new things. And it's not to say that everything you try this year, you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to wear pink hair forever. This is the authentic me, or I'm always going to have a beard from now on. It's not like that. But every time that you tap into a new iteration of who it is that you are, you learn a little bit more about yourself. You get to meet the pink hair version of yourself. You get to meet the facial hair version of yourself. And you can be like, do I like this person? Does this feel true to me? Only you can answer that for yourself, Taurus. And you don't know until you try. That's the luck of Jupiter. It gives us this more optimistic, open perspective towards life. This belief that good things, magical things, miracles can happen for us. That something amazing can be on the horizon. So believe in putting things out there so that miracles can occur. so that we are in the pathway for opportunities to find us, so that our prayers can be answered in whichever funky way Jupiter and Uranus answers them. There is a need, particularly in the first portion of the year, to continue to build that muscle of an optimistic perspective. Around every single day, I get closer to designing a life that is truly authentic to me. Every single day, I learn more about myself. I want to highlight this will not be a message for everybody, but some of you who may have recently gone through a breakup, with the energy of Jupiter, it's giving you the freedom to figure out who it is that you are. Sometimes Jupiter transiting here can be this energy of stepping in on a new journey, on a new adventure. The end of 2023 could have brought something to a close. And there's almost this energy that you're stepping into this new era within yourself. And it's not so much an energy about everything being completely linear or knowing exactly where it is that your life is going, but there's this energy of being open to find out and being optimistic about what it is that you will create, and knowing that fortune will favor you should you continue to see the value of who it is that you are. Taurus, a lot of your blessings are coming your way when you step into owning your confidence and owning your authentic confidence. With the energy of Uranus there, some of you have been keeping yourself hidden from new opportunities to reach you because you've been bounded by the shackles of self-doubt. I want you to know, with Jupiter and Taurus, you must first value yourself for this world to see value within you and what it is that you're building and what it is that you're working on. So when we consider that Uranus is this awakening perspective, some of you are awakening to a new way of viewing yourself. Some of you have been your own biggest hater, which you're realizing with North Node in your 12th house, and we will talk about it, of course. Some of you have been your own biggest hater and have not allowed yourself to put yourself in the pathway for these big miracles and magic moments and amazing opportunities to come your way because you did not feel worthy of them. But with this energy, you are stepping into your brilliance, you are seeing your brilliance, and the universe is rewarding you because of that. Maybe some of you are putting yourself out there in very novel ways. Some of you could be creating things that are very out of the box. Know that a lot of your blessings this year, Taurus, are going to come to you when you are willing to get a little weird with it, when you are willing to not conform to what other people want you to be, and just continue to chisel who it is that I am, how it is that I like to express myself, what are the creations that I want to share to this world. That is where your luck is going to come. When you dare to think outside of the box, when you dare to get a little weird with it. Also, if you are somebody who feels uncomfortable being seen, because I keep feeling into this energy, when we talk about Jupiter, we talk about freedom. And I feel like with Uranus in the first house, a lot of you are just awakening to the authentic mode of expressing yourself and freeing yourself from what other people have to say about it. You are really stepping into this role of being the creator of your universe and building a life based on the way that you want to show up, the way you want to express yourself, the way that you want to present yourself to the world. You are building a life that revolves around being true to yourself, and that takes courage to build a life that is true to yourself. And it feels like within 2024, you're freeing yourself from trying to be something that you are not. I think a lot of you are releasing caring what other people think or say about you. And that's leading you to this more free perspective of life. Because I want to let you know, Taurus, that within the first portion of the year, this can be very lucky, but you need to work with this energy. So if we go back to our plant analogies, when we talk about Jupiter, it is energy in which the soil is very fertile, but you have to plant the seed. The conditions are right this year around growing into new horizons, trying new things, figuring out different components of yourself, but you have to show up. Jupiter is in Taurus after all. You do have to be consistent in order to reap the blessings that are coming your way. But the circumstances have never been more aligned for you to plant the seeds of expanding into new versions of you, of creating a life in which your authenticity is celebrated. I feel for some of you, you are daring to believe this year that good things could come your way, that good things deserve to happen to you, that you have the ability to make things happen. You have Jupiter and Uranus aligning your sign, so I want you to dare to play with the contemplation about, I could be somebody who is worthy of magic miracles occurring. Like Jupiter, Uranus, these are blessings that are unexpected, that are random, are as rare and as electrifying as an electric bolt. I want you to know that you deserve good things to come your way. You deserve for your creations and yourself to be seen. You deserve to gift yourself new experiences to figure out who it is that you are. A lot of you may have already had this Uranus friend a while ago, and you might be thinking, Lulu Lunar, we had the eclipses in our sign last year. I had my Uranus friend. I've already changed things. I've already changed cities. I've already changed relationships. Jupiter-Uranus may be the blessings catching up on you daring to create a life that is authentic to yourself. I'm thinking of this quote, choosing an authentic path is the harder path because it's much easier to go the path that is expected of you. And with the energy of Uranus, it could be a rebellious path. It could be a risky path. It could be a path that other people do not understand and conceptualize. But the gift awaiting you is that it is a life that fully belongs to you. And it is a life that you are creating in order to chisel the most of your own brilliance, the most of your own genius, best parts. It will be uncomfortable, but living an authentic life is the goal. It is the dream. The end result is living a life in which you feel true to yourself, and not just the self you are now, but also a life that challenges you to expand into all that you can be. So this year, you're the growth path, Taurus, and it will really come down to whether your current occupation, your current relationships, your current friendships are able to meet you as you are growing and aligning. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer in this, but this can be a very beautiful time about you leading the way for new levels of growth, spiritual growth, career growth, travel growth, or however it is showing up. You may be leading the church within your relationship. You may be awakening your friend group. You may be tapping into your ability as a leader, as a creator. It's not saying that everything within your old life, within your old pot, like all of your leaves are going to fall off. That is not necessarily happening if the relationships you have, the friendships that you have, the career path that you have are able to allow you that space to grow. If they are willing to meet you, not as you are now, as who it is that you are evolving to be. This could be a major time of leveling up. What I want to say, Taurus, is that if there are certain components of your life that are stifling your growth, this can be a year in which you are feeling urged to grow beyond them. Because when we just try to suppress that ongoing restlessness that's been building within us about wanting to shake things up, wanting to tap into new components of who it is that we are and to explore into new dimensions of where it is that we want to grow, whether mentally, intellectually, physically, or financially, there could be these desires that are awakening. For some of you, if you are in a certain connection that wants you to shut all that down in order to maintain who it is that you are, those are the sort of connections that you could feel harder and harder to sustain. The ones that are forcing you to be the version of yourself that they know. Because sometimes we make this silent agreement when we are in a relationship or in a career path where we don't necessarily state it, but there is this agreement when we first started this relationship that you're going to be like this forever. I'm going to be like this forever. And the same when you start a new career. They think this is the person that we're hiring and that's that. And when you introduce your creativity or you introduce your content to the internet, this is who it is that I am and this is who it is that I'll always be. But that's not how life works. And that's certainly not how life works when you have Uranus and Jupiter in your sign. You need to be able to create the space to grow, and it will become apparent to you what aspects of your lives are able to grow with you and which are not, because again, this is not a bad thing. If you are finding that you are outgrowing the sort of content that you used to create on your social media, this could be a time in which you switch gears. You try a new niche. You try a new form. And the following that is aligned with that authentic expression will continue to grow with you. This could be a time in which you are growing and evolving within yourself, and your relationship grows and evolves with you as well. Your friendships grow and evolve with you as well. It can be so powerful and so positive in that way. However, I also want to prepare you that sometimes with Uranus energy, there can be a separation of certain components of our life that are only willing to accept us if we continue to act out as the version of ourselves that they met, that they hired, that they got into a relationship with, that they first followed on social media. But that's not how growth works. And this year is about growth for us. So Taurus, in continuing to tap into the other themes that are aligning for you within the year ahead, next we're going to investigate Venus and what she's up to, as Venus is the planet that rules you, and so figuring out her journey can also help us tap into your journey within the year ahead. All year, your ruling planet will be direct. We do not have a Venus retrograde this year. And so there is this sensation within your universe that your life is moving forward. Like I said with Jupiter in your sign, sometimes there can be this energy of freedom. Some of you may have graduated, or you may have wrapped up something really exhausting and something really tiring. There could have been certain endings that you processed, and with the energy of Jupiter, there's just this energy of wanting to expand into the next era of your life. With your ruling planet moving direct all year long, you're moving forward this year, you're building momentum. You are the bull after all. You win via your tenacity, via your ability to continue to show up. So yes, with Jupiter and Uranus in your sign, you are craving growth, but it's not so much erratic. You're really wanting to maintain the momentum and move towards what it is that you value and what it is that you desire. With your ruling planet moving direct, there is this forward momentum and fate is on your side. It could answer your prayers in some unusual ways with Uranus and Jupiter aligning. When we talk about Venus's journey, it's less about every single sign Venus will transit and every single aspect that it will give, because then we will have to be here all day. So what I want to highlight, Taurus, that I do a weekly horoscope series. It's called Magic Monday, where I give you the lowdown on every single week of astrology. You can always tune into what Venus is doing there. You are more sensitive to Venus, so you should always listen particularly to what it is that I say about Venus within those weekly horoscopes. Venus moves so quickly that she's always shifting and having different conversations with different planets. And so last summer, the summer of 2023, was the last time your ruler was retrograde, and it could have brought some reflections inwards. That's what retrogrades do. It flips the direction from the external world to the internal world, from building our future to trying to tie up loose ends from the past. From being more active and co-creating our destiny to being more passive. I want you to contemplate what lessons were illuminated to you in the summertime. And I want to let you know that the retrograde is when Venus shifts from being an evening star to a morning star. So when we talk about morning star, evening star, what we're talking about is visibility and the order in which Venus rises before the sun or after the sun. It does shift the energy of your ruling planet. So moving into 2024, we start the year with Venus as a morning star. And when Venus is a morning star, it's a little bit more self-oriented. And it's interesting because Venus will be a morning star until April 28th, which very much coincides with Jupiter being in your first house, creating an energy of fortune favors. You are prioritizing yourself in prioritizing your own discovery. The first portion of the year can be very ripe with powerful revelations around self-love. When Venus is a morning star, it's very straightforward. It can be a very sensual energy. Taurus, all I'm going to say is that Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and when it is in our first house, sometimes we can find that the optimistic energy of Jupiter causes us to drink more, eat more. We could be more indulgent. So definitely you want to be mindful of that, especially with Venus as a morning star, because it tends to be a kind of very impulsive energy, but it's also very rooted within self. And it's very devoted to what is my value. What do I want out of this experience outside of any sort of role that I've played for other people's benefits? How can I build a life that is true to me? That's the focus within the first portion of the year until April 28th. After April 28th, Venus will disappear from the sky until July 11th. So we know Venus is still there, but she is no longer visible. And I just want to let you know, Taurus, that there may be something building during that period of time in which you are feeling more inclined to keep things a little bit more sacred. You may be less inclined to share or to put things out there into the world. Honor that as a cycle of growth. Keeping in mind there's a big theme this year about expanding into new dimensions. A brand new world is what I named your forecast. This is the energy of wanting to step into a more actualized, embodied timeline, but I want you to know we all have cycles. We all have seasons. We all have our own rhythms. Plants have certain seasons in which they grow quite a bit, and then they have other seasons when they just chill and sustain that growth. That's the energy I'm tapping into with your ruler disappearing for her rebirth as the evening star a little bit later. It is less about hiding from the world because for a portion of this, Jupiter will still be in the first house. So it's beneficial to be seen, to be putting things out there, to be dedicated towards your growth. And it's also being able to sustain that growth because, yes, having Uranus in your sign can sometimes make us erratic and unpredictable. Like sometimes we are all over the place. We could be learning trombone and then abandon that and move to the next thing. Uranus can be that sort of wavelength. Again, I'm not at all worried about you all because Taurus tends to be a more consistent energy. It is more about honoring these growth cycles. About that there are times when we grow a lot. We move into this new city, go into this new job, and there are times of our life when we are being asked to sustain that growth. Put ourselves in the pathway and the practices that allow us to continue to move in that direction and continue to dial into our processes to succeed at this career. So continue with the spiritual practices that allow you to continue that spiritual path that is awakened within you. There is this period of sustaining the growth that is already taking place, and furthermore, when we consider that Venus was just a morning star, which is like straightforward, sensual, I want what I want, I know my worth. There's this shift around, okay, Now that I have tapped into my own value, how can I put in the practices that allow me to show up within that version of myself that I have connected to? What are the exercise routines that allow me to feel my most beautiful and my most sensual every single day? What are the habits that I can maintain to continue to facilitate my spiritual growth? What are the practices I need to put in place to continue to grow what has accelerated my life? This is about taking what has stirred within you and allowing it to feel anchored in a very grounded way so that you can integrate these shifts. Because what's the point of having these awakenings if all of a sudden things just go back to normal, right? This is about integrating what has transpired within the year thus far. When Venus transitions to being an evening star, the focus shifts to relationships that we are growing within, because some relationships can thrive off of this growth. Like the more that you are uncovering your authentic self, the more that your partner falls in love with you, and the more that they are inspired to grow and level up their growth. I don't want you to feel that all of you are outgrowing your relationships this year. Be deepening if you are in a connection that allows you to grow. There could even be certain changes that allow the two of you to grow together. The last portion of the year is very focused on relationships, and so there can be a spotlight on where you are growing within the confines of your relationship. And for some of you, if you found that your connection was not able to grow, the focus shifts to relationships towards the latter half of the year. With the evening star Venus, it's all about how it is that we are growing and evolving through the reflection of interacting with other souls. That could show up within your friendships. That could show up within your dating life. Wherever it's showing up, it's asking you to take all of that valuable data of having Jupiter and Uranus in your first house about how you want to express yourself, how you want to show up where you're craving growth, and allowing that to guide the people you are around, ensuring that the connections that you are making allow you to shine these very authentic parts of yourself. That can be a focus in the latter half of the year. It's not about undoing all that work that you've done on your own growth and your own self-discovery and the new levels of awakening that you are tapping into within your journey. It's about finding a connection that continues to honor that process that is building for you within the year ahead. And Taurus, about your ruler this year, when Mercury is retrograde this year, every single time it is retrograde, it will aspect your ruler Venus, which I find fascinating, and the territories that Mercury will be retrograde within are very sacred components of the chart. Mercury retrograde will bring up themes of the 12th house, the 4th house, and the 8th house within your natal chart. And when it comes to these territories of the sky, it has to do with your spirituality. It has to do with your roots, what is beneath the surface. And as we grow, because you're on the growth path, it is not just about changing the external without doing the work with the internal. Taurus, like I said, some of you are stepping into finally owning your value, finally feeling confident in who it is that you are and feeling bold enough to be seen. And for some of you, the courage to be seen is taking place while you are investigating what made me feel unsafe to be seen. Why did I feel like I had to play this role of someone who is not true to myself? Why is it so nerve-wracking for me to share my art? And I just want to let you know that with Mercury retrograde aspecting your ruler Venus, those retrogrades can be felt by you as this invitation inwards. Around, as I grow, as I evolve, what are the mechanisms within me that are keeping me stuck? How am I committing to my own healing? I want to say that with Mercury also aspecting Chiron during its journey as well, it's about expanding into new chapters within your external and also contemplating what healing needs to take place within your psyche. What do you need to close up from the past for you to feel free enough to claim this new start? You are asking, what are old messages that maybe I internalized from my upbringing that are keeping me safe and comfortable but not necessarily embodied and actualized? Like there is this contemplation about those Mercury retrogrades where you could be really looking inwards in order to find closure, to find healing, and perhaps even wrapping up cycles that you no longer want to allow within your operating system. Uranus is the planet of technology, so it feels appropriate to share a technological analogy with you, but with this shaking up of your words, of your perspective, there's also shaking up of what it is that you want to release and leave behind. There could be certain ways of talking to yourself or certain things that people have valued and prioritized about yourself, or certain components of your upbringing that are part of your operating system. There can be a nudge with Mercury retrograde about, what do I want to uninstall? What do I no longer want to take with me now that I'm on this journey? That's what Mercury retrograde could be bringing to the surface. So Taurus, there's a lot unfolding within 2024, and I won't be able to chat through every single transit that we are having, but I do want to specify a few big picture themes that I want you to keep on the top of your mind as you continue to navigate the year ahead. To begin with, I see this genuine expansion of owning your confidence and seeing your own value. We see this with Jupiter transiting the first house, and then on May 25th, Jupiter will enter Gemini. This is not great news as Jupiter is in its detriment within the sign Gemini. But for you, it does expand and bring blessings around the second house. Second house is finances. So Tauruses, I'm happy to report that there should be an improvement of your financial situation, or at least more opportunities coming your way after May 25th with Jupiter entering this sector. But the true blessings of this transit is that the second house is also how we value ourselves, our craft, our skill set. So with Jupiter in second house, the more you are valuing yourself and really wanting to be the best version of yourself, the more that is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy for abundance, as well as people who genuinely see and appreciate your value to find you. I do want to let you know, Taurus, that Jupiter in the second house can bring an expansion of income, but the problem is being able to hold on to some of it, because sometimes with Jupiter in second house, we can start making more money, but we start spending more money simultaneously, as Jupiter expands both ways. With Jupiter entering the second house, it could be like, well, I'm making more money now, I need a new this and I need a new that. And all of a sudden, you have raised all of your expenses so much that it doesn't feel like more money is coming in, because it's leaving us just as fast and at the same rate. I know that money is so funky right now to a certain degree. This is Uranus being in Taurus, which is creating all sorts of issues around money and finances, and likely even more before this transit begins, you feel like you're spending way more money simply because things are more expensive. But my recommendation with Jupiter in the second house, really be intentional. Remember, Gemini is a Mercury sign. Really look at the data. Look at where your money is going and ensure you are spending your money on things that you do see value within. Again, if you do start earning more and you're considering You know what? I deserve to sleep better at night. Let me invest in a new mattress. I really value my craft and I want to work to be the best. Let me invest in a trombone. With Jupiter and Gemini, if you love learning, you want to invest in a bookshelf. With Jupiter transiting a mercurial sign, look at the data and be sure you know where your money is going. Use it wisely. Use it to build your future. Jupiter and Gemini, some of you are getting more analytical around seeing where your money is going and where it is that you want to invest it in the things that you value. Some of you are investing in your career potential. Some of you are getting a new certification in order to switch career paths. You could be investing in something that is allowing you to level up. We see that with Jupiter and Gemini trining Pluto and Aquarius, which will happen in June 2024. We will talk about Pluto's journey in a moment, but first I want to share that you have this aspecting occurring in career houses, like the 10th house of career and public persona and the 2nd house of finances. Some of you could get a new job, get a new opportunity that allows you a significant level up of your income potential. Pluto is the planet of transformation, so some of you could get a promotion that allows you to level up. Some of you could be stepping into a brand new industry that you are unfamiliar with that allows you to level up your career growth and the path that you are currently on. All I want to say is that June is a really aligned time to put out feelers if you're not feeling fulfilled in what it is that you are doing for work currently, and if you are not feeling valued in what you are doing currently, Taurus, because like I said, Jupiter is in 2nd house, and that could be an expansion of your understanding and recognizing your own value and recognizing the value of your ideas. Some of you could be stepping into a new leadership position where you need to see your values and your ideas and your expertise in order for you to own your power. So if you are stepping into a new industry and you're having to get out of your own way of self-doubt in order to really own new positions and own all that can allow you to be and honor growth, remember very well, Taurus, that fortune favors the bold at this time and it favors the powerful. What I want to say is with Jupiter trining Pluto, it is a time to get over an imposter syndrome around, could I get that promotion? Could I transition into that industry? You will not know until you try. And this can be a more abundant, lucrative time to put out feelers, put out projects. I do want to let you know that Jupiter and Gemini will square off with Saturn and Pisces, and this will occur in August and December. And this could be a time that you do feel a little bit crunch of your income when Jupiter enters the 2nd house. Sometimes we can feel more optimistic, more money is coming in, we feel great, but it's important to save for a rainy day because August and December may feel a little bit more rainy financially. Again, I don't tell you this to scare you. I just want you to be planning accordingly for your future, that when more money comes in, you're making sure to save from it for slower months. If you happen to own your business or you work in something that is more seasonal or something of that nature, there can be more expenses that come up in August and December. And there does feel to be an energy of constriction around your income, particularly if you've been living beyond your means, which is why I really want you to lean into that Mercury energy about where is my money going? How can I invest it to the best of my ability? How can I invest it in up-leveling my earning potential or stepping into this new career path or stepping into this new promotion or what have you? The same constriction you may feel in your finances during August and December may show up in friendships because Saturn is in your 11th house. And so you could be feeling pressure from your friends around living a certain lifestyle, which could show up in a couple of different ways. Maybe all of your friends are getting married and you're starting to feel that pressure around, oh, I need to be taking that next step, like I need to buy this lavish wedding to keep up with all their weddings, or maybe you're just observing your friends. They have a certain lifestyle. They go out all of the time. They are like, come on, you have to come, you have to come. And your wallet is starting to feel the effects of constantly wanting to go everywhere that they go. Maybe they are always planning these vacations and it's outside of your means, but you don't want to say no. There can be this energy of wanting to maintain friendships that you value, but at the same time being realistic about what you can afford. As with Jupiter and Gemini, it's all about having to get real with yourself. You contemplate, what is it that I value if it's not going to these lavish vacations with my friends, if it's not necessarily getting married in the timeline that everybody else wants to, or doing whatever everybody else wants to. That's okay. Like, my money is mine to spend. With Saturn, there can be this clash between the societal pressures that you're feeling versus what you realistically can expend towards. If you do have certain friendships of yours where there are certain socioeconomic differences, don't feel that that means you can't spend time with them. Propose other ways you guys can spend time outside of lavish vacations or fancy dinners. You guys can go to picnics, you guys can do crafts. It's not saying that this is a death sentence for your friendships. There just could be this pressure that you're feeling around wanting to keep up with everybody else and also wanting to ensure that you are using your finances and your resources wisely, as well as investing them in what it is that you value, not just what your friends value. Yeah, another dimension in which you could be feeling this, Taurus, is that 11th house, also outside of friendships, has to do with hopes and dreams. So you could be feeling this clash about the need to be planning for your future and getting real about what you want and investing in what you want long term. There could be this clash where you are thinking, I know where I want my life to go, and it doesn't feel like I have the resources at this moment in order to build in that direction. I want you to know, Taurus, this too shall pass. Just make sure to take the months in which there are lots of opportunities. There's a lot of money swirling all around, and I want you to know that abundance shows up in many different forms. I want you to know that sometimes abundance can show up in brilliant ideas. Sometimes abundance can show up in receiving something free that we normally would have paid for. Sometimes abundance can show up within time, like having spare time to do what it is that we value. Think long term, enjoy the lucrative months, and enjoy the abundance as it comes in. If you are experiencing some restrictions in August and December, know that this too shall pass. And it's important, particularly if you do own your own business. That's what's super essential. It's like good months are great, but you do have to, during those good months, to keep some money aside for the months that are not so great. That is how it goes. Like everything is cyclical. A plant cannot continually go through a growth spurt. And to be able to integrate and sustain all of that growth, it has to go through cycles. So it's truly about being able to appreciate these cycles for what they are. Appreciate the months where opportunities are rolling in, money is rolling in, and just make sure to set some aside for a rainy day. Now let's expand on Saturn transiting Pisces within your 11th house, because with Saturn here, some of you are really thinking long term about the people that you want to be surrounded by. Some of you could be navigating feelings of loneliness. Like I said, you have a lot in the first house, which is really around who it is that I want to be. You could feel like you're stepping out on your journey. Sometimes with Saturn in this sector, you can find that you're feeling distant from friends with whom you used to feel very close, whether due to distance issues or just life cycle changes. It appears you guys are going in different direction, and that's okay, because to grow means to outgrow. But there can be certain sensations of loneliness that you are feeling around people that you used to resonate with and now you don't connect to. In the same way, understand that these are growing pains, Taurus. And really, with the energy of Saturn, you're really being intentional about wanting to build friendships that last. You could be less interested in having friends just for friends' sake, just because you want to be seen in a certain way and you're really wanting the community around you to genuinely add quality to your life and to support your growth. Like I said, you're on a growth path this year, and with Saturn trains in the sector, there can be an energy around being less interested in certain friendships where it's becoming increasingly apparent that you guys are growing apart rather than growing together. With Jupiter squaring Saturn, some of you can also be butting up against certain moral or philosophical differences between you and your friendship groups, or against value differences like contemplating, oh, we're growing and evolving in different directions, and also, oh, are our morals quite different? Our beliefs are quite different as well. With Saturn transiting here, you could be thinking long-term about what it is that you want and how it is that you are growing to make your dreams come true. It is true that in the energy of Saturn, there is restriction, but there is also work. And when it comes to all of that Jupiter energy, Uranus energy, you could be feeling inspired. You could be looking out at the world through the lens of opportunity. But with the energy of Saturn, you do have to put in the power in order to make those things happen, to bring them into fruition. And the reward of the efforts that you're putting in may not come until after some time. I do want to let you know that with Saturn in this sector and having lucky Jupiter in your sign plus Uranus, which is catalyzing and accelerating a lot of this growth, it still is your work to sustain it and to make those visions or whatever is awakening within you truly come to reality. That is important, and I feel comfortable telling you this because you're a fixed sign. This energy is about endurance, about continuing to show up, to take those visions that you have and make them real. Some of you could be battling these opposing energies. It's true that maybe you're feeling that Jupiter energy is about optimism and you think you can make things happen, but also Saturn in 11th house could be making you rather realistic or even pessimistic about your future and what is possible for you. I want you to continually feed that Jupiter energy of anything can happen and allow the Saturn energy of putting in the work and the effort to bolster that. It's kind of working together with it and not being delusional with the Jupiter energy, believing good things will happen without putting in effort. Also keep in mind to not be too grounded in reality. With the Saturn energy and thinking, well, this is how my life is going to be, this is how it's always going to be. It's about being delusional enough to envision a new way of living for yourself and grounded enough to put in the effort to bring that energy to life. It's about working within both. The year starts with Pluto and Capricorn wrapping up a journey that's been underway since 2008 within your 9th house, which could have led to transformation in your belief systems, in travel, in academia. Then, on January 20th, Pluto re-enters Aquarius. It dipped in briefly last March, so also contemplate what could have transpired around that time. Perhaps some themes can reverberate out, but it will transit Aquarius for the majority of the year. It does dip back into Capricorn for the fall time, and then it shifts into Aquarius, your 10th house, for the long haul from November 2024 onwards. What this means is that you are stepping into this transformative cycle around career. A lot of you are recognizing that you have outgrown your career in some sort of way, and with the energy of Pluto, it's about beginnings and endings. I want to let you know, Taurus, I see it with this and I see it with the eclipses. With Libra, which is your 6th house, Some of you are quitting a job this year, and it feels even bigger than just quitting a job. It's like quitting a career path, quitting a way of life. Like some of you, I'm sensing that you are in a job that you could do in your own sleep. It's comfortable, and obviously Tauruses do value security. Security is such a wonderful thing, but not at the expense of your own growth. It could be this energy where you're starting to repel your position because it just feels less and less aligned. The more you discover who it is that you are and what it is that you want, the more this path feels like not a match for you any longer. With the energy of Pluto, you could also be going through a dramatic overhaul of your career, of your public persona. If you own your own business, you could be craving a rebrand. You could be feeling that your current niche or your current way of expressing yourself do not encompass all that you truly are. Some of you could be walking away from a certain industry that no longer aligns. Some of you could be stepping into power, as Pluto is about power after all. This will not be a message for everyone, but I do want to let you know this is the arena of your chart that has to do with reputation, and Pluto here, Pluto can be a very revolutionary energy, especially when we consider that Pluto will be transiting Aquarius. I do want to share that some Tauruses I can see with Uranus in your sign and Pluto at the top of your chart that you could be stepping up publicly in order to rally for causes. You could be wanting to step into your power in order to guide humanity into the future. You could be stepping into a role as an awakener or a leader of some sort in order to move towards the humanitarian beliefs that you adopt and to rebel against what you feel is unjust. For some of you, perhaps your industry is evolving and you're being asked to evolve along with it. Learn new tasks in order to increase your income potential or learn new technology. With Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is the energy demanding we either evolve or decline. You can find your industry is changing, and you have to be able to adapt to the new technology or where things are going in order to adapt with it. With Pluto in Aquarius, a big part of Pluto in Aquarius, I believe, is going to be AI, and some of you could have been weaving that into your career, or you could even feel forced to a certain degree to change your career path because it is no longer viable in the way that you are showing up. Again, Pluto can be the beginning and ending energy where some of you can be at the beginning of this major evolution of career and public persona, how you are seen within the public eye, and what it is that you want to build within the public eye. And some of you could just be feeling this urge of wanting to evolve beyond the constraints of where you have been before. You want a new position, you want to earn more. Honestly, with Pluto training Jupiter in June and the circumstances are aligned for you to step into something new, something more authentic, something more aligned, something that challenges you to grow and transform in new ways. Keep in mind, Pluto will transit this section for the next 2 decades, so not every Taurus will go through this major trans within career in the year 2024. Not every single Taurus will step into this powerful humanitarian role. Not every single Taurus will feel that their industry is rapidly evolving or that they are craving a shift within their business. The story could be only beginning, and it could be particularly accentuated if you notice that you have Taurus placements between 0 degrees to 2 degrees. But Pluto is that slow transformation where you could start to see hints and previews of where you are outgrowing your career, where there are other desires arising within you, where you're observing your industry is changing, where you're observing your business is changing, and so on and so forth. I equally want to highlight that if you have Taurus placements at very early degrees, again 0 degrees to 2 degrees, you will have a Pluto transit this year, and this is a time in which you could be really rapidly transforming, burning down who it is that you used to be, how it is that you used to show up within the public eye, and really stepping into a new way of doing things. Sometimes the energy of Pluto can be a grieving process, like maybe you weren't even outgrowing career. Maybe it just feels like it got ripped from you in some sort of way, or that door just permanently closed. With the energy of Pluto, you have to trust this process of evolution, even if it's a little bit more dramatic, and trust that whatever is being taken away at this time is allowing you to step into your most embodied, your most actualized timeline, and know that this will be a story that will play out for the next 2 years around how you are transforming, and for many of you stepping into a very powerful leadership position within the public eye, or helping humanity towards the future through part of your work, or it's interwoven into your creativity or something of that nature. Many of you are being guided to lead us into the next paradigm. No pressure on anything, Taurus. I also want to share that tied to that energy of evolutions through work, the eclipse will land largely in your 12th house and your 6th house, with the South Node in Libra throughout the entirety of the year. This is in your 6th house, so that's why I was saying some of you are letting go of a certain position. It is important to highlight the difference here. 6th house is like a job, that's like a gig. 10th house is like the career that you are building. And with Pluto trains in the 10th, there can be that awakening that inspires you that you want a new career path. You want to burn down what you worked for prior and shift gears in a new way. With the energy of South Node, 6th house, you could find that you are releasing certain side gigs or side hustle jobs in order to focus more energy towards building the career path that you really want. Some of you with the energy of South Node Libra in the 6th house, you might find you're less motivated where it relates to your job, your career. Some of you, if you are still in the same position, this transit accentuated by the eclipses can be this nudge, urging and enabling you to maintain boundaries around co-workers, not letting them walk all over you. This is important to highlight with Pluto and Aquarius in the 10th house. You're stepping into your power within career. And if you feel you're not able to move forward because you're taking on everybody else's jobs, this could be the energy of stepping into your power and being able to enforce boundaries and starting to state that, no, Cheryl, I cannot do your proposal for you. I need to work on the projects that are going to help my career continue to grow. It could be an energy of letting go of certain co-workers' relationships in your world, because South Node is in Libra, also letting go of just wanting to keep the peace within the workplace. You may find within this year that you are not necessarily interested in running to everybody else's help. Helping everyone else with the projects and being of service to everyone else. You're being intentional with your energy this year. And if you find that you've given and given and given, and you feel like you haven't been rewarded in return, this can be an energy of really stepping into your power and saying no. And it could show up within work. 6th house is any sort of service that we do. You need to be intentional about your time, and with the energy of South Node Libra, if there are certain connections where you are constantly helping out with stuff because you feel bad, this can be a time enabling you to enact more boundaries. That story will be accentuated particularly around the eclipses on March 25th, which is a lunar eclipse in Libra. It can offer an aha moment about those workplace dynamics that may be based on codependency or people-pleasing, or about certain connections in which you allow others to rely on your help, on your service in some way. The March 25th eclipse can be a light bulb moment around all of that. The eclipse on October 2nd can also be a letting go, maybe of a position or a part of your daily routine that no longer aligns for you. With North Node in Aries in your 12th house, it has to do with solitude. Some Tauruses, and you might already be feeling this right now, some Tauruses could be navigating periods of feeling a little bit more lonely, or again your standards of what you expect from your friendship groups are rising. With Saturn in the 11th house, your desire of what you want to build are rising. And so it just feels like you're being clear about your time energy. Some Tauruses could process that in a feeling of loneliness. But a lot of you are no longer afraid of being in your own presence, since a lot of times when we are in solitude, that is where we are able to conceptualize these genius new ideas. Many of you are also tapping into your genius with Uranus and your sign. So if you are constantly surrounded by people, activities, their desires, their needs, usually you don't create the ability to tap into the genius coming from within you. Some of you can be taking charge of your life, and honestly, with North Node here, you are being courageous enough to initiate what you need to let go of for you to claim growth. Jupiter can be the energy of opportunity, and feeling like we are making the best of our own universe, like what we touch could turn into gold, and believing that things could go well for us with the energy of North Node in Aries. And when that meets up with Chiron in March, there can be this energy of contemplating, what do I need to let go of in order to claim growth? With Mercury retrograde within this 12th house, in addition to 4th house and 8th house later on in the year, there can be contemplations about how you have self-sabotaged yourself, how you have kept yourself from expanding into new opportunities and expanding into the person that you are here to be as a result of you being your own biggest hater. With the energy of North Node Aries, there can be this nudge to really be aware of how you talk to yourself, paying attention to the script that plays in your head, and to focus on seeking clarity, not on running away from yourself. You could be looking at your escapism tendencies. Again, you're stepping into this new chapter, so some of you are changing a few major things within your universe. As your life changes, you have to change as well. What got you here won't be what gets you there. Back to the plant analogy that we talked about before, this spot might have allowed you to grow to this stage of your journey, but it won't be what allows you to stretch into all that you can be. With North Node in the 12th house, it's really asking yourself, what is it that I'm holding on to? How am I escaping from myself? How am I self-sabotaging me? How can I initiate a genuinely new chapter for myself? How can I no longer self-sabotage myself as I step into this super energy? How do I not allow myself to step back into bad habits while growing into new stages of my journey? Things of that nature could be a spotlight this year, and we see that accentuated with the eclipse on April 8th, which is a solar eclipse in Aries. Again, do not fear your alone time with Chiron in the 12th house. You could be healing your fear of being alone, of being on your own, and maybe that's why you've resigned in certain portions of your journey to playing a role that, even if it was not true to you, because being not true to self but to someone else, but it felt preferable than having to be on your own. That can be something that you are investigating this year, and really the energy of North Node Aries, it's about tapping into your courage, the courage that's coming from within, the courage that comes from willing to sit with yourself and be daring enough to bask within your own solitude. The last eclipse will be on September 17th. It's a lunar eclipse in Pisces. So even though the nodes will be in Aries and Libra all year, we do have a lunar eclipse in Pisces This is more a harbinger to the next year's story. When North Node enters Pisces and South Node enters Virgo, that is going to bring up some stirrings around friendships, and there could definitely be new friends, aligned friends on the horizon for you. That's why I'm saying if there are any Tauruses following now and navigating a feeling of loneliness, the eclipse on September 17th as well as next year can be accelerating this alignment with like-minded souls. That is why with Saturn in 11th house, it is the time to keep your standards high. Don't feel like one friend is better than no friends. I'll take whatever it is that I can get, but rather be comfortable in your solitude so that you are willing to keep your standards high for what you expect from your community. That is because when we talk about 11th house, we talk about friendships, about your online audience, about your community. And when it comes to this lunar eclipse in Pisces, there can be a spotlight on the people that you want to be surrounded by in this new chapter of your journey. As you evolve, the people you are drawn to and you are learning from, they evolve as well. So be open to keep your standards high about what is valuable to you and how you can allow that to be echoed in your community. Taurus, I know, is challenging, but to grow means to outgrow. With the lunar eclipse and Pisces, you can experience a very synchronistic speeding up of aligned community. You could experience an uptick in your social media audience. If that's something that you do, or among your colleagues, you could feel that you are starting to be surrounded by truly like-minded souls. Again, that story will continue to play out within the next year as well. So I just feel like with the eclipse that is mostly landing in the 12th house, it's really about getting comfortable in your solitude, willing to choose yourself and choose your growth to outer perspectives. With Jupiter and Uranus in your sign, some of you could be shaking up some external factors of your world, but also choosing your own growth inwardly, as well as choosing your spiritual growth, choosing your psychological growth, being able to sit with yourself. That's where there is confidence. That outer confidence that is going to echo out into your world, it will come from you being able to come inward to make peace with the skeletons in your closet, to make peace with your secrets, to get real with yourself about your self-sabotaging behaviors, which allows you to show up more confidently out into the world. And that's the nudge of North Node in the 12th house, totally honoring the components of yourself that people might not see but are tied to all of the growth that people do see. Again, referring to that plant analogy, it's like how we don't see a plant's roots that have to go deep for the plant to grow tall. With the eclipses, it can be like, let me be less accessible to the outside world, to the errands, to the work, and to spending every hour of my day doing things that are productive for other people. Instead, let me equally devote time to my own spiritual growth, to my own psychological growth, because like I said, Taurus, this is a year of growth for you. Now, to wrap up all of this, I would love to take you rapid fire through where all the outer planets are transiting and the sectors of life that those are bringing up for you. In the first portion of the year, with Jupiter transiting Taurus, it is bringing up this open energy to life and optimism, a desire to want to be seen, to be visible. When Jupiter enters Gemini on May 25th, this brings lucrative blessings related to money and finances. With Jupiter in Gemini, Gemini is the twins, so some of you could add a new stream of revenue or could be learning a new skill in order to improve your finances. With Saturn and Pisces transiting the 11th house, you are really doing the work to either maintain friendships, if you do see them standing the test of time, or experiencing certain restrictions within your friendships, certain growing pains that are alive, as well as a desire to get realistic about making your hopes and dreams for the future a reality. Chiron in Aries will transit your 12th house, which is about healing any fear of being on your own, of being in your own presence that exists within, as well as getting real around how you have self-sabotaged yourself by not believing in yourself. That stops now. Much of your blessings await when you start to believe in yourself. This world cannot believe in you until you believe in you, Taurus. Then Uranus will also be in your sign, leading to awakenings within your own perspective, within your desire of what you want out of life. Neptune will be transiting Pisces in your 11th house, so again, maybe you've been around certain friends who are some sort of escapists. Maybe you've not been seeing them clearly. Maybe you have not been enacting strong boundaries with those friendships, and that also can be coming up for a review this year. Saturn is also there, so think critically, think long term. What connections can stand the test of time? What connections bring the best out of you? Pluto will dip in between Capricorn and Aquarius. It wraps up a story that's been playing out in your 9th house about a transformation, about your something more, your beliefs, your spirituality. With Pluto entering Aquarius, there can be a major transformation aligning for you related to career and to stepping into your power. Again, with the energy of Pluto, the planet of destruction, sometimes things have to be destroyed in order to be rebuilt back, even stronger, even more aligned with who it is that you are meant to be. In closing, I have crafted for you some soul-centered celestial affirmations that you need to continue to hold the vision of the highest manifestations of all these transits aligning for you, not against you. Those soul-centered celestial affirmations are as follows. When I change, I grow. I am worthy of miracles occurring. I am open to my prayers being answered in unexpected ways. I dive into ways to maximize my income. It is safe for me to step into my power within my workplace. My solitude is nourishing and refreshing. I get real with myself and my self-sabotaging behaviors. It is safe for me to be fully and authentically myself. As I change, my life changes as well. I allow the most authentic version of myself to be visible. I see the value of what it is that I do, and others see the value in what I do as well. I step into my most embodied timeline. I'm intentional about who I share my energy with. It is safe for me to advocate for what I need. I am my own biggest cheerleader. I'm open to learn and I'm open to grow. I leave behind all in my life that feels restrictive to my growth. My own growth is my priority. I tap into my genius. I am a brilliant, innovative soul. I will leave you there, Taurus. What a powerful year it is that is aligning for you. I hope that you can take this optimistic, expansive Jupiter energy and really try new things this year. Experiment with new ways of being. Experiment with new ways of showing up. New ways of tapping into your brilliance and the brilliance that exists within you. It has been my honor to be able to relay your yearly horoscope to you. I'm wishing you a magical year, Taurus. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.